Oh, hi, Doc.
Oh, hi, Stephanie.
Can I
How are you?
can I just call you D, like a villain, like a Batman
Yeah,
villain?
of course, like Zorro, they used to call just Z. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, of
Just
course. Yeah,
D.
yeah,
Bad news,
yeah,
D.
yeah,
Um, I had Lori Garrett on for the first time, Pulitzer Prize winning science writer. I was like, you're just kind of a happy opening act for Doctor Doom later this week. Um, well, okay. But last night was happy, right? You talked about you.
yeah,
Well, we talked about before, but you've talked about what you expect from a Biden Harris. You said Kamala Harris is a major supporter of public health and understands what communities need to fight this pandemic. She'll be a formidable partner with Joe Biden and help manage this ongoing outbreak. How much more can we talk about that? This is. I was glad, by the way, that Obama talked about how Biden helped him with the H1N1. I'm glad that he mentioned it because you saw Trump just tweeted, "Oh, awful job on H1N1. Check out the polling numbers." Well, we did,
Yeah.
Doctor Doom. Obama had nearly a 70% approval rating for his handling of
yeah.
H1N1. We had 12,000 deaths. We are
And
we are
Ebola,
very
by the way,
soon
they
on
did
to
a great job.
200,000 of
Yeah.
right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say they also did a great job with Ebola.
Yes.
They appointed Ron Klain, the advisor, to organize the whole response, and it was fantastic. We totally controlled that, and it kept it really from becoming another pandemic or epidemic, at least
Yeah.
in the U.S. So, yeah, we did. Obama did wonderful things, actually. And by the way, that speech last night was chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember ever hearing anything that powerful, even from him. So that was quite an experience, right?
Yeah, it really was. So let's talk about. We were chatting before we went on here about school
Yeah,
reopenings. Even in New York, by the way, where you're the only place, right, that's under 1%, you're having a debate, and all these places around the country that are, God knows what the positivity rate is. I know the one that sticks in my head is 33% in Miami are talking about reopening school. I mean, it's insanity. I mean, you even tweeted New York has tamed the virus. Can it hold off a second wave? I'm not optimistic that's possible. Even though we had the horrible peak in April when we were the epicenter, there's still millions of people who are vulnerable. Tell me what your fears are about New York, because that's bad news for all of us. Because as Andrew Cuomo said,
yeah.
what we're going through is going to be you. And now of course, he was right about that. And now, what do you think about New York?
You're right. So these outbreaks spread in what people refer to as geographic waves. So we were the epicenter here in New York for a while. It was, by the way, we were the global epicenter, not just the
Yeah.
U.S. epicenter. And then we got that under control, and then it's popped up with ferocity in the Sun Belt, Southwest parts of California, and so on. So we don't know where it's going, but we do know that we have a lot of vulnerable people in New York. Uh, the mayor was not happy because I said that the schools are a hotbed, and as Travis was saying, there was a preschool that his nephew went to, 8 kids in the pod, and after 2 weeks, 4 of them tested positive,
Yeah.
even with pretty good control methods. I'm just saying nobody should get complacent about what those numbers are in the community. Those percentages, by the way, I just texted Tony Fauci because I don't quite get it.
Name
I don't know what's
dropper.
so different.
Such a
Yeah.
name dropper. Go ahead.
Oh, Fauci. Yeah. We're buds. He and I, we go way back till 2 days ago. Yeah.
Go
But
ahead.
by the way, can I just tell you a very funny story about that? So Joan Baez, Joan
Yeah,
Baez.
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I was just texting with her.
So she's become a portrait artist, a phenomenal portrait artist, and she called me a couple of weeks ago and said that she painted a portrait of Tony Fauci. I said, "Why?" She said, "Because he's got a great face. He's become a folk hero, and I'd like to get in touch with him." So I connected them by text, and it's just absolutely incredible. But yeah, so Fauci and Joan Baez are now buddies,
Okay, I can't believe I'm the
and
one from here from Hollywood, and you've dropped more names in that
I got
segment.
more, but we won't deal with that. But anyway, the point
Listen,
is,
Sting told me he doesn't like the name dropping, so please just stop.
who told you that?
Sting did when I was texting with him. Okay, go ahead, Doc.
So here's the thing, Stephanie Miller, which is, of course, is a name drop
Well,
itself, right?
the biggest, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to understand more about why the percentage positivity in a community at a given snapshot makes a difference in terms of when you open schools. If it's 1% or 3% or 4.5%, the tests are done so randomly and erratically. It's not like a survey. It's just random tests that are being done, and I'm trying to get some clarity about that. That said, there is some good news in here, which is that we're going to be seeing some very effective point of care tests very shortly, which means that you could basically test everybody every day
Yeah,
with a little saliva. You don't need to send anything to a lab, and you'll know.
that'd be great.
And
Yeah.
that's great. And I think we're talking about 6 weeks or so that we'll have all that available. So I'm optimistic about that, believe it or not.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
obviously we've seen, Doc, these numbers, how exponentially they can grow. I don't even know where your estimate is at now for where we're going to be by, because you keep predicating it on if we stay on this trajectory, which how are we going to get off this trajectory with this leadership, right? How are we going to get off this crazy quilt, 50 different state response? So I shudder to think like we have to wait till January on this trajectory. I mean,
Yeah, we do.
what is your guess on death count by then? And then B, what did Biden Harris do? Please God, please baby Jesus, take the wheel. What do they do? What do you think they'll do immediately?
So what they'll immediately do is create a national focus message about what all the states can do. You were just talking about the chaos because we have 50 states doing their own thing. I think that stops on January 20th, and that means that we'll have an organized national plan for how to deal with this. Number one. Number two, if it's still raging in any parts of the country, which I think it will be, we may see some more draconian recommendations, even if it's for a couple of weeks, of people really shutting down, sheltering in place, and doing it all at once. It's crazy if you do it in New York and you're not doing it in Arizona,
Yeah.
because people just are moving around, and we have to do everything all at once. And the countries that have been successful in controlling this have had a national plan. So that's the first thing we'll see. The second thing we'll see is the government, the federal government under Biden Harris, demanding that we increase the manufacturing here in the United States of the PPE and the testing materials that we need. And there's going to be a whole series of very explicit actions that are going to be taken. We're going to be in a state of shock. We haven't seen this
Yeah.
at all from
Well,
our
we never
our
did,
current government.
as you said, we never did it right in the first place. So you're right. It's like
Right.
asking for relatively a short amount of time, but to do it right, to actually get a testing and tracing and all of that in place. So you're not just asking people to endlessly do this, because you've talked about that. At some point, you're up against human nature and political will to be able to keep doing this, because people sacrificed. They did it right, and the federal government did nothing. So we're like, well,
Right.
what do we do this for, right?
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, it's not like we recognize the errors and have fixed them. We're still dealing with terrible policies and terrible strategies that are not working. And this is why, in some places in the country, there's still not enough PPE. And when you go out to the rural areas and the smaller communities and the clinics in Central California that are taking care of farm workers, for example, they still have tremendous needs for personal protective equipment of every form and variety, and they're not getting it. So we have these hotspots all over the United States, which means that all of these like simmering embers can ignite into flames and big outbreaks in places where we haven't seen outbreaks before. So we're potentially in for a rough ride until we have this change in administration. Well, we will have a change, right, Steph?
Yeah.
We will, won't we?
Oh, please don't be doomy politically on
Come on,
top
no,
of everything
no,
else. Yes,
I'm
I
just
believe.
looking
Yes,
for
I
you to-
do. I believe.
I do.
I am
Actually,
happy
I do
clapping.
too.
Do you? Oh, wow. Dr. Toom believes
Wow.
something optimistic. What is your recommendation on taking oleander check notes, which is poison recommended by the My Pillow guy? Your thoughts on that, doctor?
My thoughts on the pillow guy. Which
Yeah,
I
the pillow
love to
guy
share with
saying
you,
that we
but-
should take that oleander is the new miracle cure for coronavirus.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what to say about the pillow guy. He's nuts. I should say that on air, should I?
He's a doctor of pillowology, I think. So
Pillowology?
yeah.
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 Okay. By the way,
By the way, no, seriously, nobody should listen to a word that he says.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a Trump guy, and I would just dismiss it. Is what the recommendation
So,
is.
ending on a doom note, as we always do. What is your? Because we're at what is today? August 20th. We were at 173,094 deaths. Where do you think we're going to be by? I don't know. Say January 1st.
At least double that, if
Oh.
not more.
Oh.
So
Okay. All right. Hey, you know what? It was lovely. It was lovely to meet Mrs. Doom. Which she seems
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, you know they like those bad boys.
they, that's a long story. We'll talk about that.
All right.
Oh, wow.
They're
Okay.
Mrs. Doom. They're in Doomville, where you
Yeah.
live.
This is the
In the Doom
You know, we've been
in the
working
Doom
together
dungeon.
In the Legion of
working
Doom.
together for 49 years, Steph.
That is a long time Legion of Doom. But
Congratulations.
congratulations, you and all the little Dooms that you apparently.
Oh, yeah, we got a lot of little dooms.
You got Dooms.
Dooms. I have to train them to be appropriately doomly.
I don't even want to know what dinner time's like at your house. Okay.
No, you don't. No, you don't. It's like
Sure, I'll pass the
Papa.
gravy, but it'll kill you.
it goes like
Okay.
this. Papa, stop talking. That's what it's like.
Papa, don't preach. All right, goodbye, Dr. Irwin Redlener.
Yes.
Dr. Doom, we love you. See
ya.
you next week.